forward, just a brief intro about the topic. Artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping how climate knowledge is produced, accessed, and interpreted. As digital platforms increasingly mediate information flows, an important question emerges. Are all generations learning about climate change at the same space in this AI-driven information ecosystem? So this is a huge question, and around this question, our webinar will be discussing the particular options that exist, that how can we offer equal amount of information. Is the CEO of AI GeoNavigators, working at the intersection of artificial intelligence and geospatial climate intelligence. We'll be joined by Mr. Muhammad Shayan Azmat. He works at Campus France Assistant at Campus France, Pakistan, working on economic collaboration and youth engagement. We'll be joined by Mr. Shersha Bangash. He's the founder of Skillistan. He focuses on digital skills and youth empowerment. We'll be also joined by Dr. Syed Amar Hussain Jafari. He is the chair and founder of SDGs Academy, working on digital governance and sustainable development. And Ms. Kashoon Liza, she has joined us. She's the founder of Test Cybersecurity, specializing in cybersecurity and digital safety as well. And lastly, we'll be honored to have Dr. Musaddiq Masood Malik, the Federal Minister for Climate Change, Government of Pakistan. He'll be joining us later as our chief guest for today. Before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. I'll be just enlisting them that the session is being recorded as well as live stream. I would request you to kindly adhere to the time so we can keep the discussion on schedule. And finally, participants may share questions through the Zoom chat or Q&A box, and we will try to take selected questions towards the end of the session. To formally begin the session, I would now request Ms. Zainab Naim to deliver her welcome remarks. Ms. Naim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Amna. And once again, I greet you all. A very warm welcome to this webinar. So I know the topic is very much interesting and engaging, especially for the youngsters. But I think it's not just about youngsters anymore. Is climate crisis. So I call this is the age of climate instability and climate crisis. We are going through it. It's no longer a future threat. And another aspect is, the digital transformation that is gaining traction, specifically the artificial intelligence and its role, that is gaining momentum throughout the world, whether it's any field, not just within climate, but within diplomacy, within research, within futuristic modeling, etc., etc. So I think keeping these two transformative aspects that are now shaping the narratives around the world, shaping the overall global dynamics. Now the question arises for the countries like vulnerable countries like Pakistan, and also for young countries like Pakistan, and even throughout the global south. If you see, the youth bulge is fascinating, and there are many youngsters who are going through this crisis. Now, the question is that whether they are learning about climate action, at a pace that is demanded by, the world, especially this world where AI is now dominating every field. AI is taking over jobs as well, as per certain research. Certain jobs are vanishing simply because we have AI. But then, how education systems are transforming with these, what is the role of institutions now in that context? If AI is here, AI is also acting as a teacher. AI is also acting as a data analyst for researchers. So how does it affect the learning capabilities, and how should, what is the current demand on how we should project the future of education, climate education, especially for developing countries, especially for those countries that are going through it. So with this, I would like to hand over to our speakers. I'm really glad that we have been joined by experts from different segments of the society, including cybersecurity, the youngsters, including artificial intelligence, and lastly, of course, as Anna mentioned, we'll be joined by Dr. Musaddiq Malik as well. So I welcome the opinions, and I welcome the candid opinions, because this is a webinar we have organized for the purpose of getting to know more about what needs to be done, how we can move forward, what are the pros and what are the cons. So with this, Amna, I hand it over to you. I request the speakers again to switch on their cameras when they're speaking, so that we have been joined by different participants. This is being live streamed on socials as well, and people are watching this. So over to you, Amna.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zainab Naeem, for setting the context. We will be now moving forward to our panel discussion titled Bridging the AI Climate Divide, Technology, Policy, and Generational Perspectives. And our first speaker for this particular session will be Mr. Asim Javed, CEO of AI Geo Navigators. Mr. Javed, AI is increasingly being used for climate modeling, disaster prediction, and risk mapping. From your experience in geospatial intelligence, how can AI help translate complex data into actionable insights for policymakers and communities?
First of all, thank you to STPI for organizing this important discussion and for inviting me to be a part of this. The very first, I would love to introduce myself. My name is Asim Javed. I lead a company called AI Navigators. We work at the intersection of two powerful forces: artificial intelligence and location-based data, or what we call geospatial intelligence. Simply put, we use AI to help communities, businesses, and governments better understand the world around them. For planning a new neighborhood, the challenge isn't climate change itself, but how we learn about it in a world of increasingly shaped by algorithms. The problem is two forces, one intersection. Climate change is already shaping our world, flood, climate change. If you are a grandparent, you might trust the evening news or newspaper. If you are a Gen Z, you find your news finds you. Sorry. If you are a Gen Z, your news finds you on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, curtailed by algorithms. Globally, over 70% of Gen Zs relies on social media for news. Compared to less than 30% of baby boomers in Pakistan, our 60% of us are under 30. This is our reality. One group receives fast but fragmented information. Another receives slower but structured information, knowledge. Both face risks. Information overloaded, various information gap. If only the young, your, your curriculum is unique and potentially flawed. AI doesn't evaluate truth like humans we do. It detects patterns, it detects contents. If if data contains biases or errors, AI produce those patterns like garbage in, garbage out. Here in Pakistan, when people hear AI, they think only of ChatGPT. This is too narrow. AI includes systems that analyze satellite imageries, forecast floodcasts, optimize water management, and support agriculture planning. We need to show these practical examples. When people see AI predicting flood earlier or helping farmer, hesitation disappears. How do we fix this? The algorithm won't fix itself. We internet noises. History had warned us. Remember Nokia? They dominate mobile phones, but didn't adopt the smartphone and lost leadership. Kodak led photography, but didn't respond to digital imaging. These industries declined because they ignored technology change. Today, AI is our reality. The question isn't worth whether we accept it. The question is how intelligently we will use it. What we can do starting today. First, be curious. Consumer, ask yourself, who made it this? What might my father and my daughter see instead? Your feed is algorithm generated. It's not the whole truth. Second, become a bridge in your own home. Why then use together? Ask younger person to show you climate account they follow. Ask an older person how weather patterns have changed in their village. You become the algorithm of understanding. From today, I think take home message is climate that disaster don't wait. Floods arrive rapidly. Extreme weather occurs without warning. They don't wait for one generation to catch up with another. Intelligence delayed is intelligence denied. If we combine human experts with AI thoughtfully and inclusively, Pakistan have an enormous opportunity. We can strengthen climate analysis, improved early warning system, and support better policy decisions. At AIG, our motto is navigating the future. We believe the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we build generation by generation, conversation by conversation, a future where every generation can learn together, plan together, and act together in the face of climate change is a future worth navigating towards. And at the end, thank you, STPI, and I look forward for our discussion.
Thank you so much, Asim Saab, for such an elaborative explanation of the topic at hand today. Um, I will now move forward towards Dr. Syed Amar Hussain Jafri. He is the chair and founder of SDGs Academy. Sir, my question to you would be that with tools like ChatGPT and other generative AI models, millions of people now receive climate explanations directly from machines rather than teachers or experts. So, what governance frameworks are needed to ensure responsible AI mediated climate education? So, the floor is yours.
Thank you much. Firstly, I would like to say, yes, I would like to just 1 minute. I have to leave the other one. Okay. Uh, Firstly, I would like to thank STPI for inviting me this very timely webinar which you have conducted right now. And all these efforts which we are doing for the good governance in Pakistan comes under SDG 16, right? Which means good governance, right? Governance is always uh, made through data. This is very important, right? There's a challenge in Pakistan right now. Number of organizations are collecting the data, but I think their access to the common man is now difficult. So we need to work on that because all these apps you which talk about, Chat GPT or anything we talk about, uh, stem from the data, right? Since we do not have the right data, we have very serious problems, right? And all things. Based on the data, the relevant organizations issue alerts, right? Like rains, heavy rains, this cloud bursting, or melting of glaciers and all these things, right? So AI helps us to respond proactively. Right now, our all responses are reactive. Once damage is done, we request the army, we request the organizations to rescue the worker and all these things. So it's all reactive. Now we all should plan using artificial intelligence, using data, using the orchestrated information by number of organizations at a one particular point of time. We need to inform the people right at the right time. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are living in a different era. It's totally different era. Now it's a technology-based information systems. We are trained to respond to situations based on our personal information, paper information, organization informations. So all these information sources which we currently have in our systems is not helping. Rather, it's having a cascading effect on the situation. Once one system is damaged, it damages number of systems, right? I'm not talking about the fake news. I'm not talking about the other criminals which are, right now we are in a mode of hybrid war now, right? So if some news spreads that after 3 hours there will be a heavy storm, heavy rain in Islamabad, and so people will start running from here because nobody wants to be catch like this, right? So this topic of yours, use of artificial intelligence for climate change, demands collective working, a joint working. SDPI is a very, very old platform, and I am a great admirer of SDPI. The people working in SDPI, your leadership, they are working excellent. But I would strongly suggest that all experts sitting in this panel with me, I think now we need to work together. And you'll be happy to know that government of China has selected me in a committee, which is they have taken 25 people from the world, and it's a specialized committee on artificial intelligence. And the main focus of this committee is to use AI for SDGs. SDGs stand for Sustainable Development Goals. Everybody knows that SDGs are defining the global problems, right? Recently, they have introduced a new SDG, which is SDG 18, which is space for all. We have three layers. One is space, one is the earth on which we are living right now, and one is the marine affairs, like what is SDG 15, life underwater. All these things are demanding a collective response by all responsible organizations, all technology stakeholders to work together. In Pakistan, you can imagine there's a global crisis globally. But right now, we are sitting very comfortably in our cities, in our organizations. The credit goes to the people who are defending us. They are spending their midnight oil. They are spending their life. They are sacrificing their life to secure us. But now it's our responsibility who are sitting in the cities to respond and to respond in a way to contribute for a cause. What is our common cause? Common cause is a sustainable Pakistan going systematically towards the destination. We should not forget that after 23 years, we have to respond to the world on 2047, when we'll be completing 100 years of our independence. The countries around us will ask what you have done, what we have done. So instead of being apologetic at that particular time and giving lame excuses that we have been confronted with this situation, this situation, this situation, let's all join hands together for a better Pakistan. But I'm heading an institution, AI Center of Pakistan, in which we are trying to teach artificial intelligence at the school level. Because if we will not train our kids right now in their school, when they will go to colleges, they will go to universities, they will go to job sectors, they will have problems. So we have to respond proactively and educate our kids, people with experience, the people with the organizations. So I will request SDPI that after Eid, we should all sit together. And I think that's the best forum. No need to travel, no need to go anywhere. Just have a Zoom meeting, just have a forum like this. And instead of complaining about the problems, let's become the problem solvers. You know, if you're not a problem solver, you're a problem creator. Because then you're just talking since 8 a.m. in the morning till you sleep. Problem. You're confusing others. So I will request all the members, please spread a message. Just now I've given an interview to a TV, and they were asking me for the Eid message. I said only one message: take care of other people around you. We are blessed people. We live in good environments. We have some money in our pocket in which we can fulfill our wishes. But there are a lot of people who don't have the food to eat. They don't have the money to give to kids. So I think in the last, I'll say that SDPI is doing something very amazing. And please take my team as well. There are a few people in your team who are in my office, in SDG office, right? So take us as part of your team, and we are like a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a heartful discussion. We will be now moving forward to Ms. Kashu. Information is rapidly spreading through social media algorithms and automated content systems. So I would like to ask you that from a cybersecurity perspective, how serious is the cybersecurity dimension of climate misinformation?
Thanks, Samna. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to join with a very esteemed panel. I would start off with with setting the foundation and the basics about climate change, and especially making the conversation more Pakistan centric. And in the context of Pakistan, we see climate change as a national security problem in Pakistan itself. It is a threat multiplier, and Pakistan is one of the top in the in the list of top vulnerable countries to the climate induced challenges and issues. We have seen the climate induced problems in the last 2 years to a point that it became a national security issue. And interestingly, this conversation is discussing the intersection of climate change with artificial intelligence, again, emerging technologies with artificial intelligence and cyber becoming national security conversations as well. So, just to set the context, it is very important to note that artificial intelligence is noted as an enabler in addressing climate change challenges. UN Framework Convention on Climate Change also notes artificial intelligence-driven solutions for advancing adaptive actions. When I was, in 2024, I was in the UN for the Summit of Future, where the world leaders and the nation states, as well as big tech companies came together globally. One of the project is a project Guacamaya, which employed artificial intelligence to fight deforestation and protect biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest. It's led by Microsoft AI for Good Lab, and it employs Microsoft artificial intelligence to analyze satellite imagery, and it provides early warning on illegal mining and deforestation. And this kind of project reduces the the time from months long data analysis to weeks and months. So that kind of opportunities and solutions that artificial intelligence bring to the table for fighting climate change, adapting the solution. But again, going back, one of the challenge that I see is the representation gap. Artificial intelligence is heavily dependent on data, and that data. So if you're using any artificial intelligence tool, you need to know where the data is coming from, right? So if the data is not coming from frontline climate vulnerable communities, say in Pakistan's case, interior Sindh, then the insights that you're using that are coming from the LLM models built on misrepresented data would not be valuable for the region-specific context. So I guess that brings another opportunity for us, that is to do data infrastructure, work on that, and then make artificial intelligence more valuable and usable. Again, misinformation. AI can also be used to perpetuate misinformation, but that doesn't mean that that's a shortcoming of AI and cannot be used. At the same time, you have AI imagery tools that can verify and cross-check, data. For instance, just recently, when the war was going on with Afghanistan, one video circulated on social media which said that Afghanistan has taken down one of the fighter jets of Pakistan. Turned out it was a fake video, and BBC, a news channel, did reverse image engineering using one of the AI tools, and were able to find out that this was a fake video, deep faked. So again, AI models can be used in the same way in the climate change context to verify and check if the information is right, and to stop the perpetuation of disinformation and misinformation. Again, all algorithm biases. That's something that comes in again, in the scope of cybersecurity as well, and something that we need to check again in the Pakistan's context. We sometimes make design choices that can skew the climate risk projections and policy recommendations. So in the context of Pakistan, tools that are being employed should be managed in a way that there's no algorithm biases. So I guess if we zoom out and from a larger perspective, it's important at the policy landscape to invest in data and data digital infrastructure, because without that, we cannot ensure a responsible and ethical use of AI. What are data standards right now? What are the LLM models that we are using in artificial intelligence related with the intersection of climate change? So we know that these are the kind of good practices that are being employed abroad. And internationally, and something that laptops on our devices, and that intersects with climate literacy as well, because artificial intelligence is a great tool for ensuring climate literacy. So that approach has to be taken more critically. That is it for me. Thank you, SDPI.
In the end. We'll be now moving forward towards Mr. Muhammad Shayan Asmat. He's from Campus France, Pakistan. Mr. Shayan, my question to you would be that young people today increasingly learn about climate change through platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and artificial intelligence tools such as ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, rather than traditional classrooms. Sir, how do you think is the education system particular shift? So,
learning through a screen rather than a book, because that's something that we don't do anymore. They're learning through screens. And I'll tell you how. Basically, before, when we were in schools, we would study in a way that we would first learn about greenhouse gases, and then we would learn about all these other things, these little small problems, the the chlorofluorocarbons and stuff like that. But now, when a student looks at a mobile screen, a phone screen, he learns through different imageries, videos, and things which are very much there for him to see, and they learn very quickly. So the response is not very rational, it's more emotional, because you see people getting displaced. You see people where we used to learn about things and we used to complain that we don't have the practical experience, they see everything. And given the situations that recently have developed, such as the war and everything, All of these things are very much there for us to see. Now, this is no surprise when we say that AI is bigger than the traditional learning that we have. The real question that emerges that should be asked is, what is education system doing about it? What is the way of channeling this whole situation into a way that been discussions on uh, how AI is also one of the contributors to the climate change. This is something that we cannot, get rid of completely. We've seen that happen. We've seen a lot of data on this, and that is something that whenever you're going to talk about AI with climate change, people will come up and they will ask you about this. They will tell you that what if, what about the climate change that is very much happening because now we're contributing to it more. But the thing is that it's something that cannot be stopped right now. We cannot actually go out and stop these big tech companies from making AI. It is very much important for us to do our work. It is very much important for us to go on about life through AI, and we will not be taking any steps back from it. And I don't think it's just very much possible given that we have so many other things to worry about. We were having this discussion, I and Zainab, the other day when we met, that no one is actually talking about the problems of climate change that are going to emerge after these recent clashes of countries. And these are big titans going against each other. You have heard that people are dying, very unfortunate and sad. You've heard that people are losing their houses, unfortunate indeed. But have you ever seen anyone talk about what are the problems that are going to be, rising because of the wars in climate change? No, I've only heard one person speak about it, and that was Zainab, right? So if only Zainab is speaking about this is a huge problem. So the problem is that as much as AI is good for the information and is good against misinformation or disinformation, but there is another problem that when you use algorithms or when you're using AI or whatever application you're using, you are into a box. It shows you what you want to see, and it shows you specific niches of things that you want to see. It's never like you go on social media, Instagram, I mean, research cube that you are in based on your own interest. So, for example, if you're engaging with a couple of reels of climate change, you will see a lot of content of it. But if the moment you shift it, then there is a problem. Then you won't be taken to it, and you will be taken to a lot of other things that you're interested in. So, it is very much based on your own interest and your own liking of the content that you want to see. The topic that we're discussing right now, I mean, sabko pata hai that it is nothing hidden, that AI, algorithms, these are the things that are going to be defining our universities, our schools, our colleges, and our kids' education in the future. What is if we integrate it into educations, and for that it's very easy to integrate, and it's easier that I mean, you go out, you let people and the kids interact with your AI. You let them you build these systems uh, which are very much integrated with the school systems. You give them out digital books, and you make them, instead of stopping the kids from interacting with social media, you actually encourage them to use the right side of social media. So, question, there is no end of the answer that I can particularly curtail with.
tackling it. We will be now moving forward towards our next speaker, Mr. Developed to remain relevant in the emerging.
We discussed and bringing all the stakeholders. I was so glad to hear from all the colleagues. So coming back to your questions, as I'm all into skills and youth and what they should do to prepare for this change. So yes, we have been using it because we are using it. But if we just look at the stats, I mean, how many internet users are in Pakistan, and then within them, how many of them are AI literate, and amongst them, how many of them are then also climate literate plus AI literate? So if we just see these stats, maybe it's not even 1%. So in with 1% of the workforce knowing all of this, I don't think we can do much. So we have to talk more about these things and try to bring these into the formal educational curriculum as well. So yes, some of the skills, I'll just try to be specific. Climate data analysis, for example, we have huge loads of data whenever we are doing data analysis. Although, even before the AI era, we were doing data analysis, but it helps us do it faster, better, right? So climate data analysis is one way, the skill, how to use AI for that. For example, I would tell you that whenever we go to COPs, right, there is a huge load of documents coming up every hour or so, and how to analyze talking about. There are researches on it, and it has been done that about 60 to 70% of the SDG indicators can be assisted through satellite imagery, Earth observation data, plus AI on it. So yes, this is one place that our youth needs to focus on, and this will generate and we'll be able to track them. I think my internet is unstable. If there is some problem, then let me know directly, okay? Then when it comes to digital communication, Shan was also talking about it, because the youth are consuming all of this from digital communication platforms. So on the other side, there has to be someone who is also producing such data or such storytelling through these communication platforms, and they can use AI to do it. So this is one way. Then about climate entrepreneurship. So while Shayan was talking about how these cloud storages, and they also consume or the data centers, they also consume electricity. So thing came in my mind. I was meeting this guy in China, and when I asked him, "What do you do?" He was like, "I'm a green entrepreneur, and what I do is I use AI to reduce the code of people, of companies, and then they would consume less electricity, or they will produce less emissions, because usually in the code you can reduce it, right? Usually it's unnecessary codes. So yes, digital entrepreneurship, kind of, AI related climate entrepreneurship. These are also the skills that people need to come up with and then launch some new enterprise, our whole climate scenario. And climate risk mapping, early warning systems, to apply more and more in our work of community mobilization, how to use AI, leverage AI to do this. And also, I would say ethic pyramid, that digital competence is very important. Otherwise, even if you have some technical green skill, it would not work. So within the digital competence, AI competence is also included. And if you are not like, make it easy for the next generation that is coming to integrate this in their work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shersha, for highlighting the professional aspect of this emerging climate economy and how should people be actually remain relevant in this particular scenario. Now we will be coming back to Mr. Asim Javed. Sir, I would like you to highlight how does your organization integrate artificial intelligence in climate predictive modeling? Any current projects that you can highlight for us to hear?
Thank you, Amna. The very first thing, uh, the biggest challenge here was to make people understand that there is a huge difference between AI models and running simulations and downscaling that simulations. So still we are facing this challenge. Most of the people don't understand the AI and potential of AI. Still we are at same like I give examples of Nokia and Kodak. Still we are, it's same thinking in Pakistan. So this is the biggest challenge. The very first to convince people that AI is a very useful tool, and with collective intelligence of humans and AI, we can do miracles and we can do wonders. And when come to us, yeah, we are currently we are developing a lot of innovative AI-based solutions. When I say AI, that is real AI, not run simulations, downscaling them. AI solutions to address the challenges. Our flagship models are including, we are lot of AI models we are training right now. They're including droughts, including predictive dashboards, and SDPI event. That's for always. I'm very thankful to Zainab Naeem. They give us a chance to show their climb 13. And right now, Shersha is here. Initially, when we was building that idea of climb 13, at that day, Shersha was also in our office. So that was most likely, Shersha idea was most likely at human based, but our model is now AI based. Thank you, Shersha, for that. And thank you, Zainab, for that. And also we are working on flood modeling, glacier lake outburst, and a lot of AI tools we are working right now, and soon we are going to launch them.
Sir, I think we have lost your voice.
Uh, have you lost my voice? I don't know from
No,
where you
we
lost
can
my
hear
voice.
you. We can still hear you. We cannot see you.
Oh, okay. I think there's some problem. Give me. Okay, so the flood monitoring dashboard employs AI-powered early warning systems, next generation weather prediction models, rainfall intensity forecast, hydrological analytics across 20 plus rivers of Pakistan. Climb 13, Climb 13, I generating risk map, highlighting high risk zones, agile. Actually, we are working 24/7 on different AI models. So right, we have a chance already in talk with us to make a presence in Germany there. So inside Pakistan, I'm still facing a lot of troubles, but outside Pakistan, I get some good opportunities. I got it. So that's it from my side. I don't know I give right answers or wrong, but I'm telling you the whole truth. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Mr. Asim Javed. And I think the idea, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks, was to initiate a debate. So, and I'm really glad that there are different perspectives coming up from different speakers, happening, and the information is being, not portrayed in a way that that is without any bias. So I think that is a challenge, how we address it. And another important question I see, there has been a question by one of the participant. It has been answered by you. Thank you. Then Dr. Mudassar Khan says that before integrating AI in climate science, first we must know the fundamentals of climate and global warming. Many educated climate activists on different social media platforms I asked about climate change, majority of people don't know. So why temperature in Pakistan is increasing continuously despite the fact that Pakistan has lesser carbon footprint? I think that is one of the most relevant questions. So just yesterday, I came across a tweet by one of the famous people on Twitter, and that says that we know there has been a spell in Islamabad. This is because of the late Western disturbances, and the temperature has dropped significantly. So that person wrote that where are those people who were chanting that trees have been cut down and there will be climate change in Islamabad? Where are those people now? I mean, this is the kind of misinformation that gets spread out by people who have influence on social media, and then that gets adopted or absorbed by people who do not understand the basics of climate science. So yes, it's extremely important to create awareness among climate science. AI is there to tell you from different data models. But then we are also developing countries. So where are we exactly standing in this perspective? I think That is the question we need to ask ourselves. Apart from that, just if before the minister joins, and as part of the key recommendations, Sayed Amar Hussain Sahab, you mentioned about SDG 18, which is a proposal, integrating SDG 18, which is around artificial intelligence. My key question from you is, and feel free to give your candid opinion, the current education system in Pakistan, do you think that will be supportive of the kind of practices that the students are adopting in context of artificial intelligence, especially as part of their learning, especially in universities, colleges, and schools? The 9th, 10th grade students, the O-level students, they're using AI without any check and balance. So how do you see the future of education in this perspective? If you can briefly share your point of view, please.
I will try to brief. Zainab, thank you very much. Let me tell you one thing. Our education system is on ventilator. And I am telling all these things for the last 20 years now. I can send videos to anyone who likes. 20 years before, I told HEC to all vice chancellors in my video talk, in my address to them, that you have to teach them what they need. Your
like pointed out that algorithms are biased, but that the younger generation is more cognizant of the fact that there's a need to double check, there's need to verify, there's a need to not just completely blindly trust, but at the same time there's a need for more education to be there, especially when it comes to climate. Like as we are approaching summers again, I think we are embracing, and the government also is embracing itself for the climate change induced impacts that would come, for instance, floods. So how can we make sure that the citizens at large, younger and old, are more equipped with artificial intelligence and other tools to make sure that the information that's coming to them is not just blindly trusted? How can they use artificial intelligence at an individual level to ensure that the impacts are minimized?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kashun, for highlighting your and for sharing about your perspective on how do you see the future of climate education. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Musaddiq Malik, who is the Minister for Climate Change and Environmental Coordination, and who is very vocal around the entrepreneurship, eco-entrepreneurship, and green youth and ideas, and how involving the ideas from youngsters matters in the context of climate debate, but certainly for climate-related disasters, and engaging policymakers and shaping the policies that actually work. And then there is also a con attached to it, the disinformation or the kind of algorithm driven information that we get on the social media, and the biases that are there, especially even now in the current geopolitical global context. We see that we are, especially Gen Z, is exposed to this kind of misinformation. So how do we fight it, and how it is going to impact the climate education that we are perceiving, because perceptions are being shaped by artificial intelligence now. With this, just setting the tone, do you think governments are fully prepared for a world where climate awareness and public opinions are increasingly shaped?
Very much. So this is now the geriatric session for for your meeting. I think the answer to your question is no. The government are not prepared. I personally feel that the world is not prepared. I think what is happening right now is out as a winner. But clearly, what we thought about a month ago, that deterministic winner of this game is ChatGPT, just over the past 4 to 6 weeks has completely changed. And I think that's the catching up that is taking place. If you really think about it, we're at the infancy stage. If you look at the life cycle curve, we are basically at a point where multiple organizations and multiple platforms are fiercely fighting with each other, much like telephony. When I was growing up, I don't remember what those two platforms were, but there was one US platform for telephony, and then there was one European platform. And there were two very different things. The American phones didn't work in Europe, and European phones didn't work in the US. And there was a fierce battle up until a final kind of framework emerged. And now it's almost impossible to imagine that there are two different kind of platforms and two different kind of telephones and two different kinds of telephony, so to say. And I think something very similar is happening in AI. So a very long-winded answer to your question is that no, the government has not caught up. The governments of the world have not caught up. They're way behind. And not only the governments, but academic institutions have not caught up. I think only people who are halfway with it is the youth. I think they are catching up nearly on an everyday basis, and they're open to that attrition, and they're participants in this war, and therefore they are kind of close to the frontiers. People who are at the edge of the frontiers are these very large organizations which don't mind spending, $10 billion in a particular activity. I say activity. I'm not using the word platform. I'm not using the word model, because the war is moving away from LLMs and platforms to actual applications. And it's the war of applications now. Who is more nuanced? Who is more specific? Who is the domain expert? And that's where we are all heading. So I would say that all the keynote speakers should have been the people who are participating in this webinar, because they probably are way ahead of the game. And we should be the participants listening to them. And that applies to government, that applies to think tanks, that applies to private sector organizations, and that also applies to academia. Having said that, I would like to say from the climate perspective and all other perspectives that the world is changing, and it's changing very fast. And this is again, I'm going to try to answer your question in a very haphazard, incremental manner, simply because I'm late. I came late. I was not better than reaction or cure or care. And we always used to say that what you can, with lifestyle change, without any investments, you can prevent a lot. If you don't do that, then through primary care, by just giving a pill and going to a doctor, when you begin to have some kind of symptoms, you can save yourself. If you don't do that, and you fall on your face somewhere, then hospitalization at an appropriate time is what you need to do. If you miss the prevention side, and you miss the primary care, and you miss the secondary care, then you end up in the emergency room, which is singularly the most expensive way of dealing with an illness or a health event. And then from there, you get into tertiary care. And if you don't survive, you get into hospice care. So what could have been saved with slight lifestyle change or just a $2 pill, you end up spending $400,000-$500,000 on the same person in the emergency room and then in tertiary care. AI is moving us towards prevention rather than reaction. So if you really looked at, because I had also dealt with petroleum in yesteryears, there was a time when fishermen would look for black watermarks in the ocean. And it's only when those black watermarks became obvious and visual that someone would start to say, oops, oh my God, there's been a spill somewhere. And then you would trace those black marks or black blotches in the ocean to figure out where that big spill was. That has all changed now. Now with what you have in the way of satellites, now what you have in the way of drones, now what you have in the way of Internet of Things, in terms of all of these vessels interconnected into a weave of information, which can be analyzed in a meaningful manner. Patterns can be recognized. I think we are moving from interventions or reactions to prevention. The availability of infrastructure And by infrastructure, I mean drones and satellites and Internet of Things and data analytics, which is your ability to takes place. So the first argument that I would like to bring to the fore is this kind of thing. The world is moving from reaction to prevention, and that our ability to do so, our desire was always there, but now our ability to do so is coming through AI. The second thing that I would like to talk about is the modeling capability. We don't know. If you look at weathers, maybe you can have some kind of predictive power in terms of monsoon intensity or monsoon duration or monsoon timing. Maybe you can have figure out slightly ahead of time whether it's going to be the El Nino season or some other season. Maybe you can figure out how much water is going to flow because of the rising temperatures through the rivers and whether it's going to cause flooding or not. You can do these things, but it's very difficult to figure out where the cloud burst is going to take place. It's very difficult to figure out when these clouds hit the mountains, what pathway this devastation is going to take place, what we call the torrential floods, and so on and so forth. So it's very impossible to figure out where it would hit and where these torrential floods would go. Now, this was impossible a few years ago, but if you now look at AI applications, what you can do with sometimes we have flood data for hundreds of years, not 4 years, 5 years. What you're now capable of doing is digital twinning. So you can actually create digital twins of these mountains, not just of cities. And through those digital twins, you can figure out all possible pathways that these or you can put together the adaptation out what can happen if it hits here, what can happen if it hits here, with so many people making a go at it. And every single time, as you guys know, you train the model as you make a go at it. And more people make a go at it, better the model gets at figuring out what all can possibly happen. And with a little bit more predictive power and a little bit more precision. So I think that's the second part, that the capability that digital twinning is giving us in the way into infrastructures and policy in terms of what we need to do and what we shouldn't do. So I think those capabilities, and therefore the governments in the form in which they exist are dinosaurs. And unless they reform, and unless they have a completely different human capital, which is going to make these policies, or at least administratively look at these policies, because you see, what is it that you fear in life? What you fear in life is what you don't know. And I can assure you that the government officials don't know. And it's out of fear that they kind of are unwilling, relentlessly unwilling to listen to anyone who's making sense. So I think the senseless formations in which the governments currently exist. They will have to change. And if they don't change, then they will die. And as you're seeing, death is not kind of I live and then I die. If you look at the Human Development Index of Pakistan, if you look at the SDG goals, and if you look at our rankings, we are dying, but we are dying in the way of a lobster who's gonna die. It's being boiled to death, but it's a slow, painful death. And that's, I think, where the current infrastructure and human capability in the way the governments operate is things don't happen, then the outcomes are going to be akin to the kind of outcomes that we've been producing so far. So I've spoken about prevention versus reaction. I've spoken about our capability in terms of digital twinning and modeling and predicting and creating policies which are evidence-based. And I've urged everyone to, and that brings me to this other point of this very bizarre idea of data sovereignty. It's a very bizarre idea. It's almost like you have a data source into which billions can dip in and make it more and more sophisticated for you, train it better and better and better for you to use. And you say, I'm not going to let it use because data, this is again old school. You create a report and you put it in the drawer and you lock it and you don't share it with anyone, because so long as you're the only one who has that report, everyone is dependent upon you. And that's exactly what we're doing to data sciences. We're trying to, because we cannot contain this revolution of information processing, therefore we are going to now beginning to call it sovereignty and contain the data. That if I don't give you the data, you wouldn't be able to do it. What we don't realize is that we wouldn't be able to do it, because if they did it, we would get better and better and better at policy making. But anyway, that's a secondary idea. So these are the two major things that I think are changing. The third one is a little bit more tactical, and that is predictive maintenance. I think all the things that we're doing, whether they are, because I am talking about climate, I can talk about anything that you want to talk about other than climate as well. But because you've given me the job to talk about climate, and climate has a lot to do with devastations that come forth, and I've spoken about the so to say the weather related and climate change related devastations, but there are also human devastations, and there are also externalities to the activities that we carry out, such as rigs, such as aeroplanes, such as power plants, such as trains, such as logistics, such as infrastructure. They're all agents of devastation. Those rising temperatures lead to things that you're running a power plant, you counted a certain pump or whatever it was, you basically counted the number of hours, or you took what we very fondly used to call turnarounds. Turnaround means that a power plant goes out for maintenance, and the maintenance takes about a month and a half to 2 months. So the power plant is out for 3 weeks to roughly 8 weeks. So consequently, the productivity of the power plant, just think about it, 2 months out of 12 are gone because you're doing the turnaround. Now, if you use these predictive models or predictive maintenance models, whether they're applied to power plants or they're applied to aeroplanes or they're applied to any other machine that moves, you can begin to change these drill tips and all of those things based upon terabytes and terabytes of data coming out every nanosecond about the temperature, about the friction, about lubrication. You are capable of being ahead of the game and replacing that tip before it breaks. And once you're doing these predictive maintenance, then your turnaround periods, if you have to do a turnaround every 1 year, you may have to do a turnaround every 2 years. And that improves the productivity of your system. So not only is it prevention and care, and not only is it your ability to model and make policies, you're also you will see these buses जो काले रंग का ऐसा it from, no matter how you look and cut at it, where from the productivity perspective, from the climate burden perspective, from the health perspective, from policy perspective, I think this predictive maintenance also makes sense, and that also comes straight off from AI applications. I also think that many of these AI applications in certain situations are almost like police officers. So these drones and these planes and these satellites. At one point in time, we used to have satellites, and then, oh my God, drones is not a word that I should be using. I just realized I've used the word drone many times, and that's not a good word to use now. But integration of technology, what we are calling, moving cars have become watchdogs, moving ships have become watchdogs, flying airplanes have become watchdogs, your cameras, your phones have become watchdogs. And now wearing those, the glasses which capture data become watchdogs. So when you put all of this data together that is coming from various or invariant sources, you can have an ocean police, or you can have a police that looks at potential spills, or you can have basically a system in place that can identify smuggling and dumping and all those kinds of silly things that are taking place and polluting our earth. So I think there's a certain role that we can play in the way of policing as well. And then obviously, predictive maintenance was one example, but algorithm-driven profit maximization can not only reduce emissions, but also, and not only make optimal public allocations, but they can also maximize profits for private sector organizations as well as government organizations. At the end of the day, although our job is public good, but public good is also at a cost. So if we decrease the cost of creating that public good, we've made the working of the government more profitable, and we have improved the cost benefit or the cost effectiveness of that intervention. So that can also be done. I also think the interventions are going to be informed by AI. So if you ask me, and Zainab, you can stop me whenever you feel like stopping. You've known me for a long period of time. I can go on babbling and going here and there. So if there's a limited time, please feel free to, just tell me to stop. So cleaning, so for example, I think if you ask me what is happening, it's not just AI that is happening. AI is a very small part of what is happening in this world. This world is being revolutionized by 3 or 4 or 5 revolutions. For example, nanotechnology is a very big revolution, which is changing the world as we know of it. Biotechnology is a very big revolution, which is going to completely change our understanding of life and death. And at some point in time, we are going to look at death as an illness. God forbid that happens. I mean, that would entirely destroy our understanding of our ecology. But I can't even play the games that my son plays these children play. I can't even do that kind of multitasking of looking at those 19 flying variables and weaving my way through it. So maybe in the absence of death, people would be able to weave their way through. I wouldn't be able to manage it, and my wife would be a very sad person. But having said that, I think that the revolutions that are brewing is this ubiquitous access to information, which is not AI, the cognitive sciences, which is what I call AI, the nanotechnology, the biotechnology. So what is happening right now is at the nexus of all of these technologies. Technologies are converging and miniaturizing. And therefore, our understanding of how to operate is also changing. So, in this new world where all of these platforms, nano, bio, informatics, intelligence, they are converging together, at that convergence, you're going to have robotic or cellular cleaners, whether these cleaners go into your body system and clean it up, whether they ride on a cell or a molecule and they cure you, or they ride in a robot and go into the ocean and clean it up, or it's basically a cell that the robot carries, which has certain enzymes which do gene knockouts and clean up the water. Uh, I don't know what is going to happen, but the possibility of creating these cleaning agents, I think, has increased tremendously. And that, again, was not possible at all in the absence of AI. But AI is one component of it. It's not AI which is going to do it. It's the participation of AI in these other platforms and integration and convergence of these platforms, which is going to make these cleaning agents more and more practical. Finally, I would say that it's going to cause serious, in my mind, and I'm not an expert, I'm not a labor economist, but I think it's going to knock out a lot of jobs as well. While it's going to knock out pollution and prevention and all of those good things, I think it appears to me that senior level jobs would become more important and junior level jobs. I mean, junior and young people will struggle a little bit with what is happening right now. I mean, just about a year and a half ago, my son went to college about 3 years ago, and he kind of was making choices between data sciences and computer sciences. And everyone was telling him that he should do computer science. And instead, he did data science. And I asked him, why did you choose data science? He says, it's easier. So I said, damn, man. I mean, what does that mean? It's easier. Now it's turning out that computer scientists don't have jobs because the coding, the kind of work that computer scientists were doing, that work is being done by, you can just speak to the computer and say, make it, and it would be made. And now the data scientists are becoming more important, and computer scientists are catching up with data scientists to figure out, if their job can be done by the machine, then they have to do some other structural work or policy level work. So I think, and my older son, who was a management consultant, he is now joined an AI in London, AI startup, where they're trying to disrupt private equity firms and strategy consulting firms. So what the platform that they've created, what they're trying to do is exactly what he did as an analyst and associate. And more basically, it figures out what you want to hear, more hallucinating magic like I don't know if it goes away. I just cooked it up with the hope that you won't